Hey everyone, welcome to this video. And today in this video we're talking about Git and GitHub, the workflow of Git and how we can use GitHub. And Git is basically it's a major prerequisite if you are starting with web development or Android development or any kind of development for that matter. And also if you are if you want to contribute to open source, or as you may know that Hacktoberfest is coming. So a major prerequisite for Hacktoberfest is the knowledge of Git and GitHub, right? So the first things first. Okay, so first thing which comes to my mind is that there is a major misconception when it comes to Git and GitHub. Some folks think that Git and GitHub is same. It's basically saying as is Java and JavaScript same. You get my point? Java is not same as JavaScript. Similarly, Git and GitHub is not at all same. GitHub is basically a platform where we can host our projects. GitHub is basically a platform where we can host our projects, whereas Git is basically a version control system. It helps us to control, our folders, our workflow through the command line, through the terminal. That's basically the work of Git. And GitHub is for hosting projects, as I said earlier. Also there are many, like GitLab is also there, but the most popular one is GitHub. Therefore I think that Git and GitHub is related so much because GitHub is the most popular one, which most of the folks are knowing. That's why I think that it's the misconception has been created, right? Well, let's come to the point that why should we use Git? You're watching this video and you're thinking, okay, Git and GitHub, okay, I get that, but why should I use Git? What does it help me? Okay, so let's take an example. Let's think that you are making a project and you are working on it. It's been 2 weeks. It's going completely fine. The app, let's say you are working on an app and the app is moving on, coming along really great. It's been 2 weeks and it's been really great. Okay, you have had success so far, but suddenly on a Monday you add a feature and that feature basically crashes your app. The app is no longer working. So you panic. You think that I wish there was a way that I could go back to the app like it was on the previous day, that is Sunday, that it's completely working, and I wish that I had not added this feature so that this could be avoided, right? Now this can be done. That's the work of Git. Git basically, it keeps a note, or you can say it takes basically a snapshot. A snapshot is a better word. It basically takes a snapshot on a regular basis of your project. So whenever you want to, you can move back to the earlier version of your project. That's basically the work of Git, right? It helps you move back to a particular version which you want of your project, right? So if Git had not been there, this would have been very difficult. And also, if you're working on open source, right? If you're working on an open source project and you want to send your project over to someone else, how will you do that? You will not mail the entire folder with everything, all the dependencies and everything in it. It will be very heavy and very time taking. So what we do is we host our project on GitHub via Git. We host our project on GitHub, and from there people can fork it, and we'll get into it later on. You just basically get the idea that for now, if you're a beginner, that Git is very useful. It helps us to go to a previous version of our project. It helps us to contribute to open source. And also think that one more good example is there. If you and your friend are working on a project, right, and you are working on the front end and your friend is working on the back end, so how will you to coordinate? How will you to see that what changes and how are they combining with each other? How is the final product coming along? So Git helps us in that also, right? Let's move to downloading Git. Okay, so now I suggest you move on to your screens and go to git.gitscm.com, and there you can see the latest version for Windows and Mac and Linux. You can download for the which one you're using depending on that. And I suggest you don't go for the GUIs because we're going to be focusing on the command line in this tutorial. So therefore I suggest you don't go along with GUIs, right? So you install it, and then you can go to the your command line, and you can write git, and it will give you a list of various things, various functions, various tasks. Therefore it shows that git is perfectly installed. Now you can move along. And I suggest that if you're working on Windows, it's a good point, please listen. If you're working on Windows, then please work on gitBash, because gitBash allows us to use commands which are not usually supported on CMD on Windows. Therefore it puts some restraints, and also we have to work around some other commands. Therefore gitBash is a very friendly tool to use, right? Yeah folks, so what I have done here is I have opened gitBash on one half of the screen, and I have made a folder on YouTube with the name Git YouTube. Okay, and I have opened it on the other half, so therefore you can see actually what is happening and what command is bringing what effect, right? So let's start. Okay, so basically at the moment my directory is okay. So let's okay, so now let me change the directory. CD stands for change directory. I'll go to desktop, and then in the folder Git YouTube, right? YouTube. Okay, it says this shows that now currently I'm in the desktop and Git YouTube folder, right? Now it's if I do ls is for list. It's basically a list command which shows that what all files, folders are there in the particular directory. Now ls is showing, it showed nothing because my folder is empty, right? Now let me use a command mkdir. It's for making a directory wherever you are, right? So mkdir, and let's do mkdir tutorial toot. Okay, mkdir toot. See, I use the command here mkdir toot, which means make directory with the name of toot, and at the very next instant in my Git YouTube folder the folder appeared toot, right? Now I can go inside this folder as well with the same command cd toot. Now I am in this folder, toot folder, right? Now I can again do list ls. It again shows nothing because this folder is also empty. Now if I make a folder in in this toot folder, or let's say make a file. Now if I make a txt document, let's say hi, in this particular toot folder, and now if I come back to the toot and I do ls, it shows me hi.txt, right? It shows me hi.txt. Therefore what is this? This command shows what all files, folders, everything which is inside of my current directory, right? Now I can also there's also command touch. It's used for making files, right? I can say touch hello, or touch hash.txt. okay, see, the file hash appears. It's so cool, right? You just type a few lines and the folders appear, files appear. It's pretty cool. I find it pretty cool, to be honest, personally, right? So this happens, right? And now I can do, if I do ls, now it shows me two files, hash.txt and hi.txt. It's true, there are two files, very true, right? So these commands like ls, mkdir, cd, these are very basic commands, and you must be knowing this if you are familiar with working of Git. Okay, so now let's move on to initializing a Git repository. Okay, let me show you what a repository is first of all. Let me do that. So this is my GitHub, my GitHub profile. Okay, sans k11. You can give me a follow if you want. And okay, so let's see some repos. This is a repo which I am let's see Thanos, right? Let's see Thanos. Okay, so this, yeah, so this is basically a repository. This is a GitHub repository, like someone named Thanos has hosted their project on GitHub. This is how it looks like. This is how it appears on GitHub, right? There are issues, there are pull requests. We'll go into that later on, don't worry. Okay, so if I open some, if I open a pull request, for example, open this pull request, and I can see the changes. Where are the changes? Where are the changes? Where are you? Files changed, right? Files changed, yeah. If I go to files changed, I can see that. Very good, yeah, see this. Now this is all in the red. Every line which is in red, it shows that this line was deleted. These particular lines were deleted by the person who made the pull request. We'll go into that later on. These red lines means that these lines of code were removed by the person who sent this this version to GitHub, right? These green lines mean that these lines were added. So whatever we see here, green means added and red means removed, right? Okay, we'll go into that later on. What is push, what is pull, we'll move into that later on. First, this was only to show you what GitHub looks like. Okay, now, okay, this is a GitHub repository. Okay, the main idea of coming here was to show you what a GitHub repository is, right? Okay, so now we made two files here, right? But what did I say in the beginning? I said that the use of Git is to keep a track of the things or the changes you are making. Okay, but does anyone in the world know that Sanskar has created these two files? No, at the moment no one even knows that, right? So how to do that? The main or the first task is to initialize a Git repository. Now what we just saw on GitHub, the Thanos repository, it was a repository hosted by Thanos.io, right? So if I want to host my project as a repository on GitHub, first I need to initialize a Git repository, right? So let's do that. In this folder, in the tut folder, I want to initialize a Git repository. So what the command is git init. The command to initialize a Git repository is git init, right? So it says here initialized an empty Git repository. Cool. Now what I can do is I can do Git Status. Okay, everything, leave this. Just look at this thing. It says untracked files. It shows untracked files and it mentions hash and high. Why is it doing so? Because we created two files and these files were not accounted for. These files had no history. So it's telling us that hey, these two files are untracked, and if you want to track them, if you want me to keep their history and click their snapshots, if you want me to do so, then you need to track these files. Then you need to tell me to track these files. Currently they are untracked. Okay, so how to do that? So the command to ask Git that hey Git, can you please keep a track of these files, or you can you at least click their initial pictures, click their pictures today, can you click the snapshots today? To do so, we use the command git add. We say git add full stop. Now what full stop basically does is full stop adds git add full stop. This adds all the untracked files. For example, okay, I'll show that later on. Okay, git add full stop adds all the untracked files to be tracked. Okay, so now these both files hash and high are added in the Git staging area. They're added wherein Git can track them now. Okay, now if I do Git status, it shows me no commits yet. Changes to be committed. Okay, now can you observe the change here? Previously also there were no commits. Now also there are no commits. That remains unchanged. But the change here is untracked files and changes to be committed. Previously, when we did not add these files, when we had not added these files, Git was saying that hey, I don't even know which files to be added or kept track of. Git didn't know anything. But now, since I have used git add full stop, this tells Git that hey Git, you need to add these two files, you need to keep track of these two files. Okay, now when I do git status, Git tells me that there are changes made in this particular folder tut. There are changes made. What changes made? New file hash, new file high. Now what I want to do with these particular files is up to me. So what I will do here is I will say git commit minus m. This is the syntax for making a commit. Git commit 2 files added. Let's say like that, 2 files added. Okay, enter. Now it says that git commit 2 files added, 2 files changed, 0 insertions, 0 deletions. This is because there were no additions or deletions of lines of code. Git basically keeps track of lines of code, So this will not. Okay, 2 files were changed, 2 files were added, fine. But did I write in code? No, I didn't write any line of code. Therefore, it's saying me that 0 insertions and 0 deletions. No lines of code were added and none were deleted. Okay, and that's it. Now these are committed, right? These are now committed. Now if I say git status again, it shows me on branch master. Okay, forget it. Nothing to commit, working tree clean. Now Git is telling me that all the changes that were made up until that point are covered. I need not worry now. Okay, so for example, if I want to add something new, for example, this was an app I was working on, and now I want to add something new to my, I want to try something new, I want to experiment. So now I can do that tension free. Now I don't have to worry about what will happen if this crashes my app, because now Git has its history, Git has a photo to which I can go back anytime. And let me show you that also. I will say, you can ask Sanskar, hey, okay, you are saying that Git has taken the photograph, but where is it? Where is the photo? Show us the photo. Let's see the photo. Let's say git log. Okay, now this is the history. Commit. This is the commit name, or you can say the code. It says author. This is my GitHub username. That's why it's saying Sansk11. And date, September 25. Time, 2 files added. Now this is the photo. Okay, this is the photo I was talking about. Now Git has captured the photo, and if I want to go back to this particular, get this particular version of my app or my anything I'm working on, I can I can go to it without worrying or without any hassle. I just have to do git log. I have to, as I did here also, I have to check which version I want to go to. For example, let's make some more changes. So now let's make some more changes. Okay, so now let's make some more changes and see how this git log works, because now at this moment I have only one commit. Therefore, some of you folks may not feel that it is much clear. So let me make some more changes, and then let's see. Okay, so okay, let's in this, okay, I'm on Tude. Okay, so let's add some more files. Touch include.txt, right? Touch sans.txt, git add. Okay, git commit minus m, 2 more added, right? This is, you have already seen this, no, nothing there. Now I'll make one more file, touch last.txt, shoot, touch last.txt, and then I'll commit this one also, right? So now we'll have 3 commits basically. Add git commit minus m last added. Okay, so now if I do git log, see, now it's showing me 3 commits. Because there are basically now 3 commits in the commit history. Now Git has 3 photographs. Okay, so now it's up to me. Now it's my choice to which version I want to go to. I want to go back to the initial version where there were only 2 files. I want to go back to the second version where there were 4 files, or I want to go back to the current version where there are 5 files. It's up to me. Git has photo of all the versions where I asked it to take it. So whenever I felt important that these changes are made, that now there are some changes made, so I should let Git know, so that Git clicks a photograph. Git will not automatically click the photographs. You need to tell Git that, hey Git, now I've made some significant amount of change and I want you to click a photo. So for that you need to do Git Add and then Git commit, because okay, it's basically like It's basically like a photo album. It's basically like a photo album. So whenever you want to, go back and, refresh your memory, what do? You go back the photo album, and that's what you do. You go back in the photo album or the photo gallery, you scroll down and see your older pics, right? So therefore, Git also takes the photographs, and whenever you feel like that you have or you need to go back to a particular version, then you use Git. Then you use the photographs. Then they are very helpful to you. Okay. So now this thing is done. We have taken the photographs. We learned. Okay. So till now what we have learned? We have learned to, we have learned some basic Linux commands. We have learned how to, initialize the Git repository. We have learned how to tell Git to add, to click the pictures. We have learned how to see those pictures. Okay, so this is done. So now let's move on to how to host your project on GitHub. And now let's see the work on GitHub basically. Right. So now let's move on to GitHub. Okay, so let me make a new repository. This is my GitHub profile. Let's make a new repository. I'll just name it, Git tutorial YouTube. Right. So okay, and make public and add a readme file. I'll update the readme later. No worries. And create the repository. Right. Now this is a Git repository. Whenever you make a Git repository, in the beginning it looks like this. Okay, now let's come to the point that hey Sanskar, I have made my I have asked Git to click the photographs. I have my photographs ready. I have made a repository on GitHub. I have that repository ready. But how will Git know that it has to basically host or push the particular photographs on which repository? How does Git know that? How will Git know that it has to push the particular, what we say, files and photographs on which repository? There are many repositories on GitHub. Git, there are numerous n number of repositories. How will it know? Okay, you can say that it knows your username, it knows your profile. Okay, Git knows my profile, Sansk11. But how? I also have around 40 repositories as of today. So how will it know that I have to host in this particular, I have to push in this particular repository? It will know if I I have to copy this. This is my code. I have to copy this. What's happening? I have to copy this, right? Okay. So now what I have to do is, I have to basically, I have copied the link from, I have copied this link. Let's copy it again. Okay. No worries. It happens this way also. I don't know why it's not happening. I have copied it and then I open my gitBash, and here I have to write the command git remote add origin, and I have to paste this here. Enter. Okay, now it says that it's done, right? So now what has happened is, now my Git knows that for this particular photographs, for this particular project, for this particular folder, the repository, the origin repository where I have to push these things originally is this one with this link. So basically folks, that's an overview of how Git and GitHub work together, how we can contribute to open source, how we can keep track of projects, work with friends, and that's basically a beginner's prerequisite. If I say, that's basically a beginner's guide if you want to get started with open source and you want to contribute to Hacktoberfest, and if you want to just get started with Git and GitHub, that's basically only this much is required by you. There are many other things, stashing, popping changes, stashing changes, there are many other things which we will cover. Don't worry, I will cover those things in detail in the next videos. But if you are a beginner, then this much is sufficient for you. You need to practice this much first of all. You need to practice this much so that you become efficient at it, and it becomes habitual to you, so you don't have to look up every time you make a change or you want to do something with Git and GitHub. Therefore, I suggest you work on these things first. I suggest you make notes and everything, and because they're very helpful. Only 2-3 times you need them. You need to look at them only 2-3 times. After that you will become pro at this thing. Okay, so it's not a difficult task. For a beginner's guide, I suggest that this much is enough for today, and you can start contributing to open source with this much only. It's sufficient for you, and moreover you can contribute to Hacktoberfest as well. It is coming. You can look up. I'll also make a video on it, how to contribute, how to everything works there. I will make a video on that also, don't worry. And also on the in-depth topics I will be covering on Git and GitHub, no issues on that also. If you want any, if you have any video recommendations, if you want a video on a particular project, on a particular, how to contribute to open source, this video covers that. But if you want a more in-depth video, how to find projects, how to find good first issues, how to find, if you want videos, if you want videos on them, I'll make them also. Also, if you like this video, please press the like button and comment how you felt. Also, please share this with your friends whom you feel they're also contributing to open source and want to start development. I'll highly appreciate that. And please, if you're new to channel, please press the subscribe button, because it motivates me to make good content and helps me. That's the only way you can support me. I don't ask anything else from you. That's the only way you can support me. Also, you can check out my community #Inklude. It's a diversity inclusive community which I have just started, so feel free to be a part of it. We are accepting mentor applications, student applications, and we have campus ambassadors as well. There'll be guest speakers, so it's a pretty exciting community and you should be a part of it. I welcome you, and we all are very welcoming, so please feel free to join us. And also I'll link my socials in the description, so please feel free to connect with me. And okay, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching this video.